Is is that my is that my Oh, hey, I got it. Good deal. All right. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Um Everything's a little foobarred right now. Just FYI, I'm trying to get back into doing this. Uh I got a lot of things to say. I got a lot of stuff I could talk about. We can chat about anything and everything. If we do get some chat people in here, we get some going. We can talk about anything and everything. Um, I got the wrong fucking thumbnail going. Quit for a little bit. Life happens, whatever. We're going to try to get back into this. I'm Cap. Welcome. Welcome. Uh, Here from, I hate headphones, so you'll see me kind of, if I got to wear them, I put them off to the side because I like to hear my voice. Anyway, I'm Cap. I've been around for a while uh, on this great little globe that we call Earth. Yeah, I'm not a formally educated person, but I grew up in the era where kids were seen and not heard, so I observed and learned a lot of shit over my life. Still am kind of that way. Will usually back off and not say my piece right away. Think about it. Not sponsored by anybody, but I do drink a lot of milk. Milk does the body good. We can get into whole subjects on when it has to do with health, geopolitical. Actually, politics plays a hell of a role in every aspect of our fucking lives. So what do you do? Um, uh, so um, anyway, I like to get things. Oh, that was going to be the end one. Talk about. No, that was. So, anyway, we'll start it off here. I like to start things funny. We get serious ish, and we always go out with a laugh. So, buckle up. If you got any questions, just shoot. We'll try to interact as much as we can. I do like to chit chat. So anyway, I'm gonna send this out real quick to somebody. Where is me? So, are you kidding me? Let's just go to here. Anyway, so we all love the Mark Rubio memes. They are just fucking hilarious because Little Marco has turned into the one hell of a great person in a lot of things. I mean, we thought he was pretty good, but he has got some big, broad shoulders for a little guy. He's got all kinds of different jobs. Besides Secretary of State, I still think he's acting as the ATF, and he's got other tasks in there, and it's just hilarious because we like to make fun of Rubio's doing anything and everything for the president for this great country. Um, I do believe he would make a. I think he'd be a pretty good president. I'm not gonna. He, in my mind, he about 50% for being good. So Vance is there too. So, but anyway, we joke around, that it was Vance in there, which coincidentally, if we go back to when Joe Biden was in there, and he has to be escorted off, by screw that music, but yeah, here I started wrong, but anyway, he's over there fucking yipping yapping, and they had to come rescue Joe and get him out of there. So it makes me wonder, if we make these memes, but it actually wouldn't be surprise me one little bit if it was. We never know who's inside that bunny costume. That could have been Marco Rubio. Who knows? Here I'm thinking that might be Pete Buttigieg. Booty juice. Booty, whatever the fuck his goddamn name is. I mean, he's Secretary of Transportation, right? He had to transport old Joe back to the lines. You see? So that was freaking hilarious, and it really it goes to show you that nobody talked about 25th Amendment, using the 25th Amendment against this feeble dumbass. If that, here again, we can go and hi Ree. So we get into the subject of if that's the real Biden or not. I mean, conspiracy theories have some truth to them. Legends have truth. Myths have truths. So it's nothing is far fetched at this point in time. AI coming along the way it is, but it's not even about that. It's all about the shit that we've done in the past too. So, okay. Anyway, what's going on? We've got that's later. The whole Middle East Iran thing. I'm not really prepared today to really want to put 100% into that. I understand everybody had a huge hissy fit over Trump, saying he's going to annihilate the population, which you're not going to get rid of 90 million people. You're not going to kill everybody in Iran. That was off the table no matter what. But, and some people jumped on the whole 25th Amendment bandwagon because he said something crazy like that. But it does go back to his art of the deal. Pressure tactics. Is it old school tactics? Yes, it's mob tactics. It's I'm go back to the Godfather. Either your signature is going to be on this paper or your brains are going to be on this paper. Gave him an offer he couldn't refuse. So it is a deal. 25th Amendment. You guys want to talk about 25th Amendment, but nobody wants to say a fucking word about Biden being escorted off by the Easter Bunny, wandering around. Nobody. Oh, look, there's a black line. True international. This dude was fucked from the beginning and nobody would say anything. But Lord and behold, Trump's trying to do something, and not that I'm 100% agree with war in Iran, but then again, we've pretty much my whole life we've been technically at war with Iran since '79. So, and I get it. I don't want them to have nuclear weapons. I don't want Israel to have nuclear weapons. But here we are. Um, I think nuclear weapons should be just taken off the table altogether. In a great world, it'd be nice. Everybody get rid of nukes. I mean, it's called MAD for a reason. Mutually assured destruction. I mean, it's going to decimate anybody. If you live in the northern hemisphere, you're screwed. You know, missiles start flying. You better hope, hell, you can get down to Brazil or down to South Africa or something. Because, I mean, there's not a lot of military targets down there unless we talk about other things with that. But anyway, his ultimatum came and went. Supposedly, the Strait of Hormuz is opening slowly. Oil prices did tank pretty good this week. Not seeing reciprocate down to our gas pumps right now. But, you know, how open is the strait? We don't know. And we can still look. We still have, this is the Strait of Hormuz, this 22 little mile stretch that we can only move so many. We have shipping channels so that they can ship through. But what I've got up here is just tankers, oil tankers. Some trying to come in to reload, some trying to get out to get to their destinations. And we still have a bunch. Each one of these little dots, these are all ships just sitting there waiting to go through. Now, some of them seem to be kind of moving here. Nope, at anchor, at anchor. You know, these sites are great, but some are moving, some aren't. It's still hard to see. Hard to say. Hopefully, we've got these more peace talks going on in Islamabad, Pakistan. We've got JD Vance going there. That's great. Steve Witkoff, he seems to be doing a pretty good job. And then we've got Jared Kushner, which I thought was out of not having anything to do with this administration. But here we are. I really, really wish we would have sent Marco Rubio rather than Jared Kushner. I don't think Kushner has my interests in mind, my best interest, because I just don't. I don't trust him. Never have. But, hey, that's interesting. What the fuck? Is that a ship? How the hell? That's interesting. Anyway, hopefully, crude oil, Brent oil, but they're pretty equal right now. So, but I mean, we did get up. We dropped $20 in a matter of an hour, so that helps. How's that going to help us in the long run? We don't know yet. Hopefully, you know, I personally run the E15, and it's been a big push across the from the great state of Iowa. We produce a shit ton of corn. Big push to put E15 in most all blends of gas, and I am a mechanic by trade right now. Besides doing this and that, I will say that ethanol does get a very bad rap. As long as I can remember, as long as it's been available to me, I've put ethanol in vehicles that they say you shouldn't because it damages them. And I've had nothing but good luck with them. I could actually tell a difference when I'm not running ethanol versus when I am, if it's the same type of octane. Um, a lot of this stuff is lies from big oil. They don't want you to use ethanol in it. Ethanol is still the 15% is even more or less safe for your small engines. I run it and I've never had any problems. Hell, I've seen lawnmower run on 100% alcohol before. That happens. So take all that with a grain of salt too. I mean, we're run by industries. We're run by a lot of junk science. That is the it's not that the science is there. The trusted science, trusted science is science that's done by themselves. I mean, you go back to the tobacco industry. Hey, you know what? We investigated ourselves and we found nothing wrong with it. Third party says, oh, we found some problems with it. The glyphosate problem that we have here in Iowa and in general across the whole nation, and now it's going back into that we're going to allow more glyphosate, is a terrible, very detrimental chemical to all of our lives. I mean, it's not only used to kill weeds, it kills off your they use it on oats and stuff like that to kill off oats. It's the number one reason why we have a gluten intolerance in the United States, is because we kill off all of our food. Our food is dead food, unless you're going out and you're planting your own garden and actually going through it that way. Most of the foods that you buy in the shelves are pretty dead. So I have no idea how I got off this tangent. So it all plays. It all plays. Hopefully, and this shit's kind of neat. I like looking at this stuff because we can look at the whole world and see how many oil tankers. Look at all the oil coming in, going out of the United States. Awesome. Which is really weird. When you look at, we consume a lot of oil, like 13, 14 million barrels of oil a day. And we export, we're net exporter. So we export 14 million barrels, but we also import 13 million barrels. So we're only exporting 1 million barrels because we got to mix all these oils from all around the nation, from Venezuela we take the oils from Texas and mix it with the oils from Alaska and Saudi Arabia to get the different blends, whatnot. I really need to research that a little bit more because it seems redundant, but here we are. Speaking of all this war and shit, here's something that I know I've been pushing for a long time, and that's to NATO. NATO is a fucking goddamn farce. We should not be in NATO. NATO should not exist. NATO was to exist to protect us, in theory, the Western nations of Europe and the United States from the great Soviet Union. And now that the Soviet Union has collapsed, look at that. We still have NATO, and NATO expanded afterwards. And I mean, being a taxpayer, I don't like seeing my money go to Europe. If you want to force, I'm fine with NATO being NATO themselves. I don't want the United States in NATO. We shouldn't have to not only spend money on our own military to protect ourselves, and we move that to our bases across the world too, for readiness, but we're also paying for another whole military. For what reason? One gets picked on, we all come together, which worked great for the Gulf War bullshit, but no. And it just made matters worse when we did make these operations into Iran. Uh, the nice thing to do was to allow, hey, would you guys want to help us out too? Nope, nope, nope. That's yours. We're not gonna fall for it this time. We're not gonna help you out. Which, okay, so be it. So be it. That's fine. We got a better military than what we fund with NATO. That's fine. But to go and to block airspace like Spain did. What? And on top of that, they didn't want to kick in. They were the only one that didn't want to add more money to NATO of their gross domestic product. Instead, they wanted to keep at the same rate, and they're terrible at even getting that paid. Spain is lost. Spain has been lost, but there's more to this. The conspiracy, I wouldn't say it's conspiracy because what's the biggest problem across all of Europe right now? Mass migration problems. Where are these people coming from? They're coming from a lot of these Muslim nations. Besides Africa, which some of them are the Somalians, most of them are Muslim too, all Islamic. They don't want to look bad in their citizens' eyes, and they're not even citizens, but they don't want the invaders of their nations to look down on them even further by supporting the great United States in our war with Iran to stop them from having nuclear capabilities, which I'm pretty sure from my research, I'm up to maybe like we got to be at like 3000 BC. They were within a week or two of having nuclear weapons at that point in time. I mean, my whole life, that's all I've ever known was Iran's going to have nuclear capabilities. Iran's going to have nuclear capabilities. So, and yes, they've killed citizens, but we definitely need to get the fuck out of NATO. I thought I had something else on NATO. What did I have? I didn't have. No. Oh, yeah. NATO. Here's Dwight Eisenhower, who, that's fucking hilarious here. You got a 5-star general. 5 motherfucking stars on this guy. He's commander of the army. The first and only one was George Washington. Of course, he was awarded that posthumously because we didn't have all these different ranks of general at the time. So, but he hits it right there. I mean, if 10 years, if all the American troops stationed in Europe should come home, we were there to help rebuild their military. And now that the fall of the Soviet Union is gone, can Germany have their military back again? Or, who cares? We could have NATO bases and you guys just all pool your soldiers together and you can have them all over. But not on our fucking dime. I'm tired of paying for other people's. We have so much fucking fraud going on in my lifetime. And even before that, for that matter. The fraud is, and especially when it comes to giving monies to NATO and to the UN and through all these NGOs, through the USAID program, it has to stop. I mean, we're spending way too much money on bullshit stuff. This is a waste. NATO has been a waste, at least since 1993 at the fall of communism. No, it's 93, 91. Shit, memory's going. Anyway, early 90s. But I mean, he was right at that point in time. So about the time that he see, now he could have gotten us out of NATO too, because that was in 51. He served president till January of 1960 when, 1961 when John F. Kennedy took over, and his outgoing speech warned us extensively about the whole military-industrial complex, which we've seen to come in to run our lives at this point in time. So he warned us against it, but yet between what Truman put into place post World War II into what Eisenhower did, you look at all of our contingency plans for nuclear war, and the aid of the military-industrial complex, bringing in these private contractors, one of them including being AT&T, that was saved from bankruptcy because of national security. But Eisenhower fed into this and then warned us about it. He could have stopped it. He didn't have to. We could have structured shit a little bit fucking different, so we don't have the likes of Halliburton and stuff like that running everything. They stand to make millions, and did that stop? I don't know. Anyway, so that's a whole big, huge ass fucking story there, which having to do with the whole how the military-industrial complex started. Look at all the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases, Raven Rock, Weathertop, Colorado Springs, to mention a few. You know, this is all brought up. He helped grandfather a lot of it. One person bucked back against the system, and that was Kennedy, and we see what got him. He was trying to turn a lot of heads. He was going to get us out of a lot of different shit, but there we are. And speaking of the fucking fraud, we go to California. We're in California. California, city of commies. The Californias. Anyway, we've got the California Attorney General, Rob Bonta. Bonta? I don't know. Anyway, he's going to talk at a press conference today because we're investigating fraud. We've got a whole fraud division. Not to mention we got other people doing it too. But
well, healthcare fraud might be President Trump's shiny new political talking point. California DOJ has been going after healthcare fraud since 1979. For decades.
So, since the start of the whole Iran thing in 1979, halfway across the world, California has been fighting back, fighting hard to stop the fraud of Medicare and healthcare fraud. Really? Okay. Oh shit, I meant to leave that up. Yeah. We got to get to this. So here, we've got, so You got the population up here. 22, 23, 24, 24, 25, 26 proposed. This is just Medical enrollment. We go back. Medical. I don't know if you guys can read this shit over here. No. Maybe not. Anyway, Medical, it's the largest, the nation's largest Medicaid program. Okay. Covers a third of Californians. A third. Just a third. So keep that in mind. A third. $222 billion they need next year to serve 14 million people. But that's only a third. This company only takes a third of 14 million people. So 3.75 million people, $222 billion. And that's an increase. I mean, and that's lower. The previous fiscal year, they only needed close to $200 billion for 14.5 million people. But now the budget goes up for less people. No fraud. No fraud. No fraud at all. Here, we'll watch a little bit of Nick Shirley here.
Now we are here outside of Healthy Life Adult.
Oops. Oh, come on.
Adult daycare. This place, over the past few years, has billed
I'm probably
$19
blasting you guys. Whoops, sorry.
alone. Now let's go see if I can enroll my grandma, because she needs some daycare. And this right here is the entrance of a building that's received over $19 million. So this is the location that's received over $19 million.
Close to $20 million. Close to $20 fucking million. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, okay. How many people you have there?
Kind of crazy, right? They say that right now we're here at 1:30. No adults are here. I wouldn't doubt that adults do come, but $19 million.
Kind of like North Korea. It's like everything's set up, but there's no people. It's like for a show almost.
No, nobody's here already. You have to come back tomorrow.
And could we get like a brochure to enroll our grandma into this location?
I don't have anything.
Can anyone give us a brochure?
Angela, does somebody has information about here?
Don't think it's enough to say it's fraudulent, because you do see that it is operating. There were people working inside there, but the fact.
Yeah, they're kind of okay. Nick's doing a good job. He's getting there. He's fine. But is there fraud in California? Oh, god damn right, there's fraud. I had another one. Yeah. I mean, here's another example of fraud. This is a high-speed rail. This is like 10 years now or something like that. It's taken them to build. That's not even a half a mile. That's a quarter mile, if that. No tracks on it. Billions of dollars. There's no fraud here. There's no fraud here. California's been taken over by a whole bunch of leftist liberals that have ruined their country, ruined their state. Sorry, not their country, but close, man. It's no surprise that everybody's leaving fucking California. I wouldn't want to fucking live there. I've been there. I don't want to go back. Definitely like Florida better. I do like the Gulf area of Florida. That is nice and beautiful. Good old Gulf of America. But yeah, hey, we got fraud. More, not to mention that they're driving BMWs.
Democrats. This adult kid is all taking place. That says ADHC. And there was some people working inside of it. We have the phone number right here.
Is it?
Darren's gonna go ahead and give a phone call and see if somebody from inside works. Now we are here outside of Healthy.
Why won't this? Anyway. Yeah, driving Beamers, living good luxury lifestyles. Now, I mean, they're getting arrests up in Minnesota. It's going really fucking slow. Minnesota, the choke point of Iowa. We've actually put out legislation to take over the bottom row of counties in Minnesota. Most of them would love to join Iowa. Seems to be the going thing. We've who knows? Next 5-10 years, we might have way different boundaries, especially with Alberta trying to get out of Canada. Parts of Oregon want to join Idaho, parts of Washington, parts of Illinois want to join Iowa, with Minnesota. You know, people are begging to get away from these liberal-run states. And I've seen what it did to our state. Our state went to shit. Our education system went to shit under Democrat control. With 2 Democrat governors in a row, and terrible. Hated them. Anyway, I despise their policies, because we did go from being one of the top nations in education, top states in education, to being nothing. So, we got the crude oil and that. So in the midst of all this peace talks going on and shit, over there in Islamabad, Bilderberg group meeting is taking place in DC this weekend. Kicked off tonight. What goes on at Bilderberg? Well, if you don't know, you're not going to know. It's a hush-hush meeting of very wealthy people to leaders to tech to everything. But what they discuss there is kept hush-hush. It's all anonymity, more or less. They're going to be talking about how to. This is 72nd meeting, but for the first 60 years, 60 of them, anybody that talked about it was called a kook, a whack. You're a conspiracy theorist. We don't have special meetings. President does go to a special meetings with closed doors where he can speak his mind, and nobody's going to come back and say that he said this, because we don't say that behind these doors. This is where handshakes are made. This is a whole Jekyll Island bullshit. Again, but this has always been going on. We have secret meetings. And who's on these lists of who's who are showing up to this? Well, it's not, it's usually you'll hear hearsay afterwards of who's been there. Well, let's look who's coming. We got Stacey Abrams, a failed gubernatorial candidate, embezzler. She's got billions of dollars of tax money. She's going to be there. You've got, look, all these CEOs. Secretary of the Treasury is going to be there. Who else? Mark Carney, the Prime Minister. We've got Siemens CEO. European investment banks. Secretary of the Army is going to be there. President of the European Council. Let's go to the next page. Senior Fellow of the Hoover Institution, Stanford. Who else? There was somebody else that I thought was good. Minister of Defense, Vice Chairs. Director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. Denmark's Prime Minister. Governor of the Bank of Spain. I didn't. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command Commander. President of Finland. Minister of Finance from Norway. Congress member. Jason Smith, Congress member. Just Congress member. You know? But these people are never going to talk about what the fuck there's actually being said there because you don't. They just can't talk about that stuff. Oh yeah, Peter Thiel, Thiel Capital, he's going to be there. Yeah, so it's a who's who of the Bilderberg group. It makes you wonder. A lot of these people might be listed and know people that are connection with the Epstein list. That could be a part of it. Who knows? Secret meetings don't fare well for us peasants out here. I mean, we can go back to Jekyll Island secret meeting. It's put us in the situation we are now where a dollar bill ain't worth shit. I have silver dollar bills. It's worth more than the dollar bill in my pocket because it's actually backed by physicality. Trump wants to talk about the new future of going to Bitcoin and all these cryptocurrencies. Great. Wonderful. I still don't understand 100% how they work, but great. And have at it. I think it's going to collapse the system even further. We're going to get more and more back to bartering systems when it gets down to the brass tacks of it. So that is what it is. And one, so I guess, my one piece of interesting history today is the anniversary of the ending of the Civil War, the signing in Antietam, I think it was, where General Grant and General Lee met together, and we signed that we were not going to fight anymore. Now, rough time. 600 and some thousand Americans lost their lives. But Lincoln and Grant both were on the same page. And that was, we end this war. Those are our comrades. Those are our fellow Americans. We don't want to separate the nation even further, so don't laugh at them. Don't disrespect people. We need to come back together as a nation. We need to heal. And it worked to a point. There was some reconciliation stuff that, not reconciliation, some of that rebuilding just didn't fare out so well. And that was due to having a terrible president after Lincoln was murdered. So, but very interesting piece of history. yeah. I love history. I love that. I mean, it was a shitty time, but we talks about Grant feeding them and stuff. We did some pretty nasty. The Union did some pretty nasty shit, especially to Lee, and considering he was just being loyal to Virginia more than anything else. I mean, you could still visit his nice little plantation, I guess you could call it. It's in Arlington. They built a funeral or a cemetery around his home. So, but he was a great general. Was very anti-slavery himself. His wife was actually the granddaughter of George Washington, who helped black people read and write. I think we're going to call that a day. And this is my final outgo. Like I said, I like to have a laugh. And this is pretty much where life is at this point in time. I know too much. I've seen too much. I can read into things a little too much. But what's worse can happen now? World War III, World War IV going to happen? Okay, I'm just here. Sit back, pop some popcorn, drink my milk, and watch the show, because that's all we can fucking do at this point in time. Is that delusional? Fuck no. Fuck it. Life's too short. Why give up now? Let's see what the fuck happens. So, anyway, we will try to cut this back again. Let's do Saturday. Let's go Saturday evening. Do 7 o'clock again. How about that, guys? I am on X, streaming this to Rumble, YouTube. If I get kicked off to YouTube, I will say it in advance. Fuck YouTube. Yeah. So, who doesn't like a cat smoking a joint? Alrighty. Well, I suppose, guys, we're going to call that a night, and we will talk again. Let's do Saturday. Saturday? Sound good? Sound good. Let's get some more bullshit going. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, just hit me up on X. SCapart01. Follow me. I kind of get wild sometimes with some of my posts, but anyway, we'll talk to you later.